All right, boys, this is it. The final card of the year for 2025 before we get slapped with that brutal UFC off-season for 6 weeks. I'll have no reason to live. I'm going to drop a separate video about what I'm going to be doing during that break. Spoiler alert, I'm going to go fucking crazy without the UFC, so keep an eye out for that one and watch all the ways I'm going to be melting down. But yeah, we've got UFC Fight Night, Royval versus Kape this weekend. We're closing out 2025 with an absolute bang. What a card. And yeah, that is a little bit of sarcasm. It's at the Apex. The Apex sucks. This card kind of sucks. And honestly, they should have just canned it and left us off with UFC 323 last weekend. That was an insane card. We should have just left it on that high. But here we are. Look, that being said, this card's got that weird underground fight night energy where, you know, something crazy could happen. There's a couple of decent matchups, a couple of sketchy ones, and a little bit of potential for this to be one of those sneaky bangers that nobody expects. So I'm holding out hope. The main event, Royval versus Kape, is pretty sick, actually. I love flyweight fights at a high level, and this one is a high-level fight. It's got absolute chaos written all over it. I hope it lives up to my expectations. We've also got Vallejos versus Chikadze in the co-main event. That should be interesting. Not much else to report on this card, to be honest. A couple of potentially hilarious heavyweight scraps and some unranked mayhem will certainly unfold. So you never know, but no idea what's going to happen on this card. The picks are probably going to be all over the shop like they were last week, but hopefully we at least get a little bit of carnage. Let's get into these picks and finish the year the only way we know how. Fellas, it's time to punch on. The main event is Brandon Royval versus Manel Kape. And this fight has been cancelled twice already, so the anticipation for this one is at a fever pitch. It's insane. I'm actually going to be missing my nan's funeral for this scrap on the weekend. So, look, it should be all right. Royval, he's a dog. I've got a lot of respect for this guy. He's been on a bit of a tear at the flyweight division, but he does tend to lose to the best guys. He lost to Pantoja, and he just lost to Joshua Van, who is now the champ, whether you like it or not. Kape is pretty good, but I don't know if he's on the same league as those guys that are beating Brandon Royval. I reckon Kape would actually probably lose to both those guys as well. He actually did already lose to Pantoja back in the day, and I reckon Joshua Van would beat him as well on the feet. I think we're going to get a bit of a scrap here. Both of these guys are sick on the feet. Both are going to want to be in control and on the front foot, so I think we could be in for some fireworks here. Royval is chinnable. We've seen that, against Joshua Van, and that is my only worry here. Kape has got good hands at flyweight. I think he used to be a bantamweight, and I wouldn't be too rattled if Kape actually got a finish. I don't think we're going to get much wrestling here at all, so I do reckon someone's going to go to sleep in this one, or maybe it goes 5 rounds. We might get a bloody tit-for-tat war, which is what I'm kind of hoping for, but I don't know. I've got a feeling one of these boys might go to sleep. It's actually shaping up to be a very decent fight if it stays together. You never know, and I hope they don't give each other too much respect as well. They're both kind of, pretty decent guys. I feel like there's a bit of friendly vibe about this one. So, I don't know. I really don't know how this one's going to go. The flyweight fights are always sick to watch, so I'll be watching this one for sure. As far as the pick goes, I'm going to be riding with Raw Dog. I reckon he can out-dog Manel Kape. I reckon he can take him into deep waters, knock him out in round 4, maybe even choke him out late. He does have a bit of jiu-jitsu as well. I reckon this fight, because it's 5 rounds, it'll be all about the heart and the soul, and I reckon Brandon Royval's got that in spades. Kape is a bit more technical, but I don't know if he's got the heart of Raw Dog. So we're going to go with Brandon Royval by KO in the later rounds. Good chance it's a decision as well, but we're going to go with the Raw Dog to get it done. Co-main event, Vallejos versus Chikadze. This is a massive step up for Vallejos. He's fought and won a lot lately, but he hasn't fought that many good guys, and this is definitely his best opponent that he's versed. I really like Vallejos, however you say it. I do actually think he's a future contender. He's only 24 years old. He's very young, and he's improving very fast. He looks better and better in every fight. He is very short and stocky at featherweight, though. Sometimes those builds work, but he's only 5'7", and Chikadze is 6 foot at featherweight. That's kind of crazy. So the reach is going to be a factor here. Vallejos, he could struggle to get into the pocket, which is what he's going to want to do. But Chikadze, he's getting on, bro. He's 37 years old now, and we're starting to see these young guys take over and, take the torch from some of these older guys. We saw that last weekend with Peyton Talbot versus Henry Cejudo and Tatsuro Taira as well. So I reckon Vallejos, because of the range and the reach, he could struggle a little bit early to get inside the pocket. And, there's a good chance that Giga kites him for a bit and moves around the outside of the cage, and maybe Vallejos takes a few shots early and a couple of jabs and body kicks and that. But inevitably, I reckon eventually Kevin Vallejos is going to find a shot. He might get a takedown, could work the ground and pound a bit, and I can see Vallejos spending a fair bit of time on top position in this fight. If he's smart, which I think he is, he'll know that tit for tat at range with Chikadze is not a good idea. So I could see him spend a fair bit of this fight on top, controlling Giga Chikadze, beating him up with elbows and punches from the top, threatening submissions as well. Chikadze's been tuned up by decision in his last couple, and I don't think he looked that good against Arnold Allen or David Onama. And it's kind of bad signs if you're losing to David Onama. We saw him just get, easily worked by Steve Garcia. I reckon Vallejos is pretty good, man. I've got him confidently winning this one by decision, but a TKO via ground and pound probably wouldn't surprise me either. So TKO or decision win for Kevin Vallejos. We're gonna stick with him. Yep, I reckon he's a good prospect, and he should beat Giga Chikadze. Feature fight is Cesar Almeida versus Cezary Oleksiejczuk. We're getting a bloody Caesar salad going on here. We got Caesar versus Cezary. So I don't know a whole lot about Cezary Oleksiejczuk yet. I do think that he's Mikhail Oleksiejczuk's brother or cousin or something like that, and that tells me kind of what I want to know. I rate Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. He's a good fighter, and he trains with good guys. I believe he's at the Fighting Nerds now. I don't know if this guy's at the Fighting Nerds as well, but it makes sense that he would be. I'm just kind of assuming that Cezary Oleksiejczuk is cut from the same cloth as Mikhail. Maybe they're not even fucking brothers, and this is dumb, but yeah, I think they are. They're both from Poland, so maybe it's just a common name, but fuck, I tell you what, typing it all out and thinking about it, it's got me actually pretty good at spelling this name, which is a pretty crazy name to spell, but yeah, I got that one locked in the brain now. Look, Cesar Almeida. I'm not super high on this guy, to be honest. Look, he's a decent, patient kickboxer. He likes to sit there and look clean, but he feels very beatable if you just take the fight to him, I reckon, which Oleksiejczuk's probably tend to do. So Caesar's coming off a couple of all right wins. He slept, Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Fair enough. He beat Ihor Peteria, which is nothing special at all. Before that, he lost to Kopylov and he beat Dylan Budka. So, yeah, not exactly a murderer's row there. And the guy who was decent that he fought, Kopylov, beat him. So, and he's lost to a lot of guys back in the day as well. Oleksiejczuk, I think he's making his UFC debut. He got a one-round KO in the Contender Series, and he does win a lot of fights by knockout. When I try to picture this fight, I'm basically just imagining Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, what he would do to Cesar Almeida, and that, in my opinion, would be pressure him, take him down, smudge him, either look for a submission or he just beats the piss out of him on top. So I don't think Almeida's patient kickboxing game holds up that well when guys force grappling exchanges and keep him working. I reckon Cezary is going to use his wrestling, control him, win minutes of this fight, and maybe even beat him up late. I'm going to go with Oleksiejczuk by decision. Ground and pound might not surprise me here either. So, yeah, kind of sitting on the fence a little bit with some of these methods, but I feel confident that, yeah, Oleksiejczuk should get this one done. Melchizil Costa versus Morgan Charriere. This one's a little bit of a coin flip, to be honest. I think a lot of people will be picking Milky Costa here, but I believe Charriere might actually be the favourite. I've got a little bit of a weird feeling about this one. I feel like the index is rising on this one. I was going to go with Morgan Charriere. I don't think Charriere is some elite future contender or anything, but I do like him. He's entertaining, he's fast, and when he's on, he looks really, really good. Like, he looked fucking incredible against Nate the Train. But then you look back, and he also lost to Nathaniel Wood. He's all right, though, and Chepe Mariscal too. He's solid. I think Charriere's a little bit limited physically. He's stocky. He's kind of short for featherweight. I think he's 5'8". He is explosive. He can create shots. He's lost a lot of fights, though. Milky Costa is a guy I actually really rate as well. He's a lot taller. He's 5'10". He's got a 71-inch reach. Pretty quick, well-rounded, and he's on a 4-fight win streak. Beaten decent names. He's beaten Andre Fili, C-Rod, and Julian Erosa. And the guys that he's lost to, Steve Garcia and Thiago Moises, they're not really scrubs, so you can't hold that against him. And he's looked really good recently, and I think recent momentum is really important in picking these pretty close fights. So the smart part of my brain is telling me that Costa should probably win this fight with his size, his activity, his grappling. But there is just that little cook, degenerate part of me thinking that Charriere might do something early here. Costa's hurtable. I could see Charriere landing something on him in round one and pouring it on him and maybe winning that round, maybe winning the fight. Like, I don't know. But if Charriere doesn't hurt him early, I could see Costa absolutely taking over with grappling and control. Costa's pretty decent, man. Like, I've rated his last few performances without being anything special. He's been consistently winning. He's been pretty active as well. 4-fight win streak in 18 months. Very solid. So, yeah, I've been going back and forth on this one. That cooked little brain cell in my head, the one that I've nicknamed Alonzo Menafield, the silly, retarded one that makes me pick dumb, illogical underdogs. It's very active in this fight for some reason. And look, I was originally picking Charriere when I did my first round of picks for this. I've flip-flopped on it again. We're going to go with Melchizedek Costa by a close 29-28, spotty-looking decision, a bit like his fucking skin. But either way, we should get a pretty good fight here. So we're going to go with the Vitiligo monster, Melchizedek Costa. We're going to go split decision win. Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Marcus Buchecha at heavyweight, I believe this one is. I think, yeah, it is, yep. 265. Nzechukwu, I thought, was on the rise at heavyweight. He had a little bit of that aura of the lighter man skill, moving up to, shake up the fucking cesspit that is the heavyweight division. Him and Ryan Spann, I thought they were the chosen ones to come up and do some work at heavyweight. Maybe Alex Pereira can save us. I thought these guys were going to blob their way through the blob wall at heavyweight and make their way to the belt, but then Kennedy, unfortunately, ran into the heel snatcher, man, Walter Walker, and his hopes and dreams just got ripped out of his ankle. Now he's going up against Marcus Buchecha, who's a 4th degree black belt in BJJ. He's like I think he used to be a pretty legit gi grappling guy. Like gi, not gi, but yeah, a gi grappling guy. He's kind of gi. He's gone 5-2 since he's been in the UFC. What did he lose to? Martin Boudet and some Umar Kane guy. So look, nothing really to report here for Buchecha. He lost to Boudet, who's all right, but he's still pretty much bottom of the barrel heavyweight there. And I reckon Kennedy Nzechukwu is a little bit above that level. I'm not going to take too much away from him getting his heel snatched off by Walter Walker. We've seen that's happened to 4 guys in a row now. So maybe not the worst. Walter Walker's just built different, man. I reckon Kennedy Nzechukwu is going to get things back on track here with a round 1, maybe 2 TKO. This guy, Marcus Buchecha, he's not Walter Walker. I doubt he pulls off a heel hook here, and that soy BJJ shit doesn't really work in the UFC anymore, especially at heavyweight. We just saw that with that Max Jimenez bloke getting starched by Josh Hockett. If you can put a good one on someone's chin, doesn't matter what your bloody jiu-jitsu's like, you're going to go to sleep. So I reckon Marcus Buchecha is going to go to sleep here. Walter Walker's a generational talent, and he's not even a 4th degree black belt type of guy. He's just a fucking animal. So I'm not going to hold it against Kennedy there. Let's go with Kennedy, pick up his momentum. He's going to flatline KO Marcus Buchecha in round 2. King Green versus Lance Gibson Jr. See, I remember when they announced this card and they had that whole card just out and on the way that the UFC shows the card up on their broadcast, and it just said King Green versus TBA. So that kind of tells me that they knew they wanted King Green on this card. They wanted another known name on the card because the card was always very weak, and the best they were going to get was fucking Bobby Green on it. So I reckon they've just dragged up some bum out of the B leagues, done a Willem Powerfish and paid some bloke $250 at the boat ramp to cash to come get fucked up by the King, which I reckon's what's going to happen here. Lance Gibson Jr., or should I say fucking Danny Barlow in a trench coat and sunglasses. Very, very suspicious that fucking Danny Barlow gets cut and then a couple of weeks later this guy gets pulled into the UFC. Fucking Dana, we may have an imposter on our hands here, but yeah, Lance Gibson, this guy's last couple of fights, he's been fighting out of Muckleshoot Fight Night promotion, Muckleshoot. I reckon that says all you need to know about this bloke. And before that, he was at Bellator getting a couple of wins over bums. Yeah, doesn't really bode all that well for this Lance Gibson Jr. bloke. Now, Bobby Green, he's pretty cooked and his chin is probably gone. There's always a puncher's chance when you're fighting Bobby Green. Bobby Green's had a couple of nasty finish losses lately. He got wheel kicked by Mauricio Hoofy and choked unconscious by Paddy the Baddie. But look, we know what level those guys are at. Pat Pimblett, at least, we know what level he's at. It's pretty high. It's above, this friggin' Lance Gibson bloke. I'm going to wager that this Gibson bloke's nothing special at all. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been at Bellator for that long. So I've got Bobby Green getting a layup here, comfortably tuning this guy up and getting a late rounds TKO after putting belt to ass on him. We're going to go with round 2 or 3 TKO for the King. Amanda Lemos versus Jillian Robertson. It's a tough one here, this one. I really want to pick Jillian Robertson, but at the same time, that little cooked brain cell that wanted me to pick Morgan Charriere, this fucking little stupid thing that told me to pick Alonzo Menafield over Volkan Oezdemir, and he ruined my whole perfect card the other week. That stupid little cooked brain cell just is telling me that Amanda Lemos I could chin Jillian Robertson here. So It's got me thinking this one. I like Gillian Robertson. She's been doing really, really well. She's been active. She's been leveling up. Lemos seems to be on the tail end of her career, I reckon. You know, we see some of these Brazilian chicks do really well for a long time, but when they fall off like really hard. It happened to Marina Rodriguez, who, you know, Robertson beat dominantly in her last out. Lemos also beat Rodriguez as well, for what it's worth. Look, Lemos, I reckon she's looked very beatable in her last few fights. She's still good. She's still got power, still athletic, still butch as hell. Got that Brazilian Karen haircut, but I still reckon she's got a clear weakness in the grappling. Tatiana Suarez mauled her, dominated her positionally anyway on the ground without doing too much damage. But she found success in just holding Lemos down. I think Wei Lee might have done the same in their fight. And Gillian Robertson's got good grappling, man. She doesn't fuck around on the feet too much. She knows her path to victory. She goes for it. So I think we'll know very, very early in this fight how it's going to go. If Robertson can get an early takedown and hold Lemos on her back, pack her up, boys. Like, we're going to see a dominant performance from Gillian Robertson and maybe even a finish, a submission. But if she can't get that early takedown and she can't consistently take down and hold down Amanda Lemos, she's going to be in for a long night, because Gillian Robertson, even though she's improving, she's not that good on the feet. And Lemos, that's her wheelhouse, right? So I was thinking about coin flipping this one, but there's another fight I want to save that for down the card. So, look, I've picked against Gillian Robertson the last couple of fights she's had, and I paid the price for it. I'm going to jump back on the Gillian Robertson train. I wish. Gillian Robertson by control-based decision win, threatening submissions, but Lemos, a bit too tough to finish. We're going to go 30-27 decision win for Robertson. Maybe a sketchy moment or two for her on the feet. Yeah, we're going to go with Robertson. Joe Anderson Brito versus Isaac fucking Thomson. This fight was supposed to be Joe Anderson Brito versus Melsik Bagdasarian, which would have been a low-key banger, but instead we get this unknown Aussie bloke, Isaac Thomson, on 5 days' notice, eh? Look, when the UFC needs a fight on short notice, they know to call the fucking lads down under, eh? None of this protecting your record shit, none of this, like perfect matchmaking shit. Us Aussie blokes, we just want to get down and scrap, eh? Risk it for the fucking biscuit. Respect to Isaac Thomson and all the other Aussie blokes, Quillen and shit, who are doing a good job of that. With that being said, I reckon Thomson gets slept or subbed in round 1 by Joe Anderson Brito. Sorry, boys. Look, Brito's nasty with it. He finishes guys on the reg. A lot of people are very high on this bloke before he started fucking selling lately, but no shade on what Brito's recent losses have been. He got out-grappled by Pat Sabatini, which is pretty normal, to be honest. He's good. He lost a decision to William Gomez, which is pretty normal as well. This is what he does. This is what William Gomez actually does. Look, I still rate Brito. I got absolutely nothing to go off for Isaac Thomson here. He's been beating bums in the LFA, but this is going to be a big step up. The UFC is different, and Brito is not a bum in the UFC. Look, I always pick the Aussie dudes. I've got the fucking Southern Cross tattooed on me chest, brah. No, I don't, but in my brain I do. I'm going to give Thomson a miss this time, but I can only be so patriotic with it. Logic's going to prevail this week. I had a shocking week of picks last week, so I want to get back on the horse. So, sorry, Isaac. Look, I'll make it up to you if you win, brother. I'll glaze the fuck out of you forever. Feel free to knock out Joe Anderson Brito and fucking call me out if you want. But my pick for this one's going to be Brito by submission, round 1. Maybe a TKO, but look, it's going to be a finish, I reckon. Round 1 finish. We're going to lock it. We're going to load it. And I'm happy to eat my words in this one if Thomson gets it done. Going with Brito, we're going to lock him in. Speaking of locks, Neil Magny versus Yaroslav Amosov. Magny, bro, the cockroach maxing king. Look, ultimate respect to this bloke. The UFC just keeps feeding him monster after monster after monster. And this, I think he might be one of the first blokes who I've actually picked twice on the channel. That's how active he's been. So respect to Neil Magny. He just always, comes in against these killers and puts up a good showing for himself. Even when he does get finished in round 1, it's always still, a typical Neil Magny performance. Here in this fight against Yaroslav Amosov, Magny's coming off 2 good wins. Well, 2 wins. The Jake Matthews one was a bit sus. I think a ref error or something cost Matthews a win in that fight, if I remember that correctly. There was some funny business at the end of round 1. That was on the Perth card, that's right. But look, to Neil Magny's credit, he does have that cockroach ability in him. And most of the time he either gets finished in round 1 or he loses early and comes back to win. You can never count out this guy, the Haitian sensation. He's an absolute fucking legend. He's got another tough prospect here, though, in this 28-1 Bellator veteran, Yaroslav Amosov. I can't say I've done a heap of study on this guy, to be honest. But he's had a long and successful career, and he's beaten a lot of guys with a lot of Ovs and O's and V's in their names. What are these Eastern European guys good at? It's wrestling, right? And I don't know that that's Magny's strength, and especially if a guy's bigger and stronger. Magny's pretty frail and able to be controlled and taken down and twisted up into a pretzel. Even though he is crafty, and he's good in the clinch, Magny, but when those guys have just got bigger backs than him, he does struggle. Look, we get the ultimate litmus test here for Yaroslav Amosov. If he can dominate Magny, he's worthy of being in the UFC. If he can't beat Neil Magny, fucking pack her up, back you go to the PFL, mate. So, yeah, I think they've been holding out on this guy. They brought him in. They've given him Neil Magny. I think they're going to want him to win. So I'm going to go with Yaroslav Amosov by taking down Neil Magny, roughing him up a bit, maybe a finish, but we're going to go with a 30-27 decision. Magny, he's due to lose. He's come off 2 wins. You know, the fact that he's due to lose probably means that he could win, but I can't count on this crafty old fucker every single week. So we're going to go with Amosov by decision. I'm going to use lock number 2. I reckon Neil Magny's going to lose this one by decision. So I don't reckon Magny will do much. We're going to go with Amosov. Next up, Sean Sharaf versus Stephen Asplund. 2 fat guys here with not a lot going for them. They're both going to be fighting very hard to get their career started in the UFC, so I like that. It should be a banger. Asplund, he got a sick round 1 finish on the Contender Series not that long ago, but before that he got beat by Denzel Freeman, who we saw have a fight a couple of cards ago and look fucking terrible. But with that said, Sean Sharaf got beat by Junior Tafa. That is fucking horrendous. So these guys are going to jiggle around like a couple of bags of milk. And I reckon either nothing at all happens in this fight or we get absolute mayhem. It's a perfect fight to flip the coin on. So here we go. Surely we got all that shit juju out of the coin last week. It flipped up fucking Edson Barboza and he got massacred by Jalen Turner. So thanks, coin. That was one of the shittest coin flips of all time. One of the most brutal assassinations in fucking UFC history. So maybe we need to start calling this thing the coin of doom. That patent is pending on that. But yeah, we're going to flip this coin. So here we go. Heads is Asplund by belly suffocation KO. Tails will be Sharaf by body slam KO. Let's flip this thing. And the winner is heads. It is Stephen Asplund by belly suffocation. There's no way that Sharaf's going to survive that thing. The coin has been flipped, fellas. Let's see what happens. All right, there it is. The coin has spoken. We're going with Stephen Asplund by KO round 1. Melissa Croden versus Luana Santos. Yeah, look, I like the look of Melissa Croden in her last outing against Tainara Lisboa. She looks like she's got a little bit of mongrel in her, Croden. A good sign for chick fighters. Maybe not the best technique, though, but she's got plenty of ticker, and she's got decent hands as well. I think she got a TKO on her debut. She's well-rounded. Luana Santos, what she got going for her, she's pretty hot. Got decent submissions. She's beatable, but I do think that the youth, the speed, the technique advantages are all on the side of Luana Santos here. I did want to pick Croden initially. She's a bit of a bad bitch, but yeah, I reckon Santos is just probably going to be on a bit of another level in terms of jiu-jitsu and grappling and technique overall. So I'm going to go with Luana Santos by submission, maybe points, but I reckon we maybe get a decent scrap here. I'll chuck the double chance on it, submission or points by Luana Santos. So we'll go with her. The last couple here, I don't know a whole lot about, so we'll just go through them quickly. Frye Jr. versus Guilherme Pat. Who knows? Anyway, Frye versus Pat. I got excited here when I saw Frye Jr. I thought maybe this was going to be fucking Don Frye's son and we're going to get a sick bloody unit coming into the UFC. But, I would have picked him for sure if he was. But no, unfortunately not. He's Alan Frye Jr. So whoever the fuck Alan Frye is, I heard someone say that he's an ex-UFC fighter. So maybe he comes from good stock. But look, I don't know fuck all about either of these guys. Just looking at their pictures, Pat looks way more buff, way more strong. So I'm going to pick him by round 1 TKO. And starting up the card is Jamie Lynn Horth versus Teresa Bleda. Look, stoked I get to fucking sleep in for once on this card. There's no way I'm watching this shit. I reckon the fight to go the distance is the freest money you blokes have ever made in your life. So there's no chance these Sheilas are going to bash or chin each other. Bleda will get this one done by a snooze fest decision. There'll be some fainting at range, maybe chucking out a couple of it's like fucking female tennis players. The odd leg kick, the odd jab, some bullshit takedowns that result in 4 minutes of fucking control time per round with nothing going on. Might as well watch the fucking homeless bums in town fight over the best bit of concrete under the bridge. Yeah, I ain't watching this shit. We'll go with Teresa Bleda by decision. That's it, boys. That is the end of the predictions for this card. Hope we get a few this week. I hope you enjoyed the picks this week, and I hope you're enjoying punch-ons, lads. This is my first crack at having a YouTube channel and a bit of a creative outlet. I'm enjoying myself. It's been a big year, 2025, but 2026 is going to be heaps bigger. I've got heaps of cool ideas planned, and in this 6 weeks off, I'm not going to go quiet. I'm going to keep pumping shit out. A few lists, tier lists, that sort of thing. Still got this massive video I'm working on. Hopefully I'll get that out soon. Yeah, fucking soon, TM. I'll keep promising it, but keep your eye on the channel, fellas. Go and watch a few of my other videos. Go watch my 1 round wars video. That took me fucking ages, so get on there and give that a bit of support. Like this video. Subscribe to Punch-Ons if you're not. About 98% of you blokes or something aren't subscribed, so if you want to keep seeing the chaos and the doom and all these hectic picks, you know what to do. Jump down there, hit the subscribe button, keep on coming back, because we're going to keep on bringing the fucking violence and the chaos. So hope you boys have a great Chrissy, a great New Year's, and a happy holidays. Enjoy the content. Enjoy yourselves. I'll see you fellas on the next one, which won't be far away. Punch-Ons out.